Alright, my first ever YouTube Q&A. I put out a post on Facebook and asked you to ask me some questions. I got a great response. Thank you for everyone who asked me a question. Honestly, I was a little bit worried that I'd put the post out, saying Q&A, I'm ready for all your questions, and I'd get like 0 comments. But I've got a few, so let's go. I train 6 days a week. 4 out of those 6 days I do two sessions in the day, and each training session is between 2 hours and 3 hours long. Over the whole week I'll accumulate about 25 hours of training, and that happens week in, week out. I started diving in 2004. My club, City of Leeds Diving Club, where I train now, they were running a talent identification scheme where they basically went into a load of schools around Leeds and tested kids in, between the age of like 6 and like probably about 10 or 11, and tested us on various different gymnastics based skills because we were just in our sports hall at school, so they couldn't really make us do any diving specific things. So we kind of just did like flexibility tests, tests on your form, tests on your strength, on your jumping ability, and I went through all those tests, and because I did gymnastics previously to that, I was really good at all of them. And then after that I got called back to go and have a trial at the pool, and after my first ever pool session I absolutely loved it. Immediately after that I had a bit of a toss up between gymnastics and diving because I was doing both at the same time for a little while. Diving just took everything 100%. That was definitely the way I wanted to go. So I just want to quickly interrupt this Q&A to tell you about something that we love in Leeds: wizardry. I don't know if anyone else around the world understands it in the context that we do, but it's not Harry Potter. It's a very rare occurrence where the stars align and a dive goes perfectly, like this. It can happen on easy dives. It can happen on difficult dives. It can happen when you get lucky in training and nail your most difficult dive. You can win an Olympic gold with it. And what happens in the air doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to look good as long as the entry disappears, although it definitely helps if you are doing the hardest dive in the world and break the world record in the process, like this. Look out for some more examples of wizardry in the rest of this video. I feel that. I don't like cold water. I'll tell you that right now, I don't like cold water. The pool that I train in, the water is pretty reasonably heated, so it's usually quite warm, the conditions are pretty good, but there are a lot of pools around the world where they use just cold water, and I generally struggle in those conditions because obviously when you dive in, the water's cold, right, and then when you get out of the water, you're kind of waiting around for your next turn, so when you got cold water on your legs and on your muscles, like your muscles will get cold as well compared to hot water. To try and combat it, to try and deal with it, I just have to try and keep moving. I use my chamois. You see the little towels that us divers have all the time that we're throwing around all over the place. I use that to dry the water off my body. Also, it's worse when it's an outdoor pool because you have the cold water and then you might have a bit of a breeze, and obviously a breeze on wet skin is not good. So yeah, that's one of my bigger challenges.
It's fine.
My nutrition hasn't been the best it could be, and I've never really had specific advice for what I need before and after training for diving. It's a difficult one because, for an endurance sport like a marathon, for example, you just gotta load up with a certain type of food because you know exactly what's going to help you. But diving's not really like that. It's not an endurance sport, it's kind of a power-based sport. So I think before training, you just got to make sure that you have some food in your stomach so you don't get hungry. If you train in the morning, make sure you have like a decent breakfast. Like I tend to have porridge in the morning before I go to training because you got a lot of fibres in porridge and it's really good for you. After training, just load up on your proteins and on your carbohydrates to replace the fuel that you've burnt off during your training session. This is kind of me just talking from what I remember from university, from my sports science degree, but it's important to replace that fuel as quickly as possible straight after your training session. I'm going to be working with someone soon to get a bit more nutritional advice on how I can make my nutrition as good as it can be. So hopefully as I learn more, I can maybe feed back some more information to you guys. I've only had one major goal, and that was to make the Olympic Games, and I did that. Bouncing back after that for this season that's just gone, it's actually been very difficult because I think I made kind of a mental mistake after the games, thinking that things would just fall in my lap. But in reality, you still got to go out and find what makes you happy and find something that can continue your success. So I think I kind of coasted a little bit too much after the games, and that was really shown in my diving last year. But now I think I've got my head back in the right place, and I think I've got my sights on the next major goal, which is obviously the next Olympics. That's what I want to achieve. So you just got to take a little bit of time and just reset your objectives. I learned to swim when I was very, very young. My parents took me to the local leisure centre, and I basically just joined like the swimming classes there. I think that was from the age of like 2 upwards. So I was in the water from a very young age. I was very comfortable with the water from a very young age. And it's funny, I had like the swimming there, and then I had the gymnastics, which I started when I was about 5. And I basically put my hands together and out came diving. Okay, firstly, that's why I'm just going to switch that to why diving. So why diving? Kind of explained that a bit earlier. I got into it. I kind of fell into it through the testing, but actually my love and enjoyment for the sport has been like nothing else. I haven't enjoyed another sport as much as I've enjoyed diving. I think the thrill of it is amazing. The challenge of trying to basically perfect every single dive, every single day, that's something that keeps me coming back and keeps me going. And also traveling the world, it's so great. I mean, who wouldn't want to visit like Rio and China? I guess it's pretty cool to see so many locations, but I don't really get to see much of it. But you kind of at the same time have to not take it for granted and try to take in as much as you can. I don't know if I can pinpoint that to one person, but there's been many influences in my diving career. I mean, my parents have been there from day one and literally have done what they had to do so I could do what I want to do. That's something that's made me want to work as hard as possible. My coach showed a lot of faith in me by suggesting that I switch to Jamaica, thinking that I could make it to the Olympic Games. That has been a tremendous amount of motivation, because without suggesting that, then I think my diving career would have just like kind of plateaued and died off. But them showing the faith in me allowed it to just continue increasing on the path that it was meant to go on. Also, in terms of Jamaica, Usain Bolt has definitely been a massive amount of motivation for me. And I obviously heard that the Olympic Games was going to be his last one last year in Rio, and trying to be on the same team as him was something that pushed me forward to achieve my dreams and actually make the Olympic Games.
Black button, that last step.
I've actually only broken one board directly. So if you don't know, in Leeds we had like a little bit of a issue last year where basically all but one of our springboards had to be taken out and then replaced a few weeks later on with some brand new ones because they all had like cracks in them. In Leeds we have a lot of powerful divers, so we're like smashing into the board every single day, multiple times, and the boards are meant to withstand that, but a few of them have cracked. I don't think it's our fault. I blame the coaches for making us too strong and too powerful. But directly I've only actually broken one board. I remember I came back from a competition and I was just bouncing around on one of the dry boards and I just heard a big old crack, and yeah, the board cracked, but that's the only one I've ever broken. Guys, thank you for all your questions. I wanted to give a good response to every single one of them, so the video was a little bit longer than I wanted, so I've had to kind of cut it in half, and I'll do half in this one and I'll do the other half in my next video next week. But I appreciate you wanting to get to know me and your appreciation of what I do, so thank you for your questions, and maybe we can do this again.